Hello and welcome to episode 384 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. We're going to be live hacking on some Firefox stuff today. I'm very excited about that. We're going to be continuing our deep dive into documentation. I almost said purgatory, but not exactly. We're documenting a fairly gnarly piece of component of the desktop browser, that part that manages customization of your toolbars and panels, the overflow panel. And there's a long history. Like, I worked on the first version of that in 2014, and there have been some changes here and there over the years, but for the most part, it hasn't changed, but the things around it have changed. And so there's like a lot of history and probably dead code sitting around in that module that needs to be cleaned up. It works, it does its job, but the conditions under which it exists have changed. So, for example, in 2014, it was possible for add-ons to insert new toolbars at runtime, for example. And we don't do that anymore. That's not a thing that add-ons can do. That's not a thing that we would. There's no API for doing that. And so there are chunks of the customizable UI mechanism that can probably go away. They don't need to be supported anymore. But our job isn't to judge, and our job here isn't to fix so much as it is to document and maybe clean up a little bit here and there. So I in a way, documentation, like by way of doing documentation, we're finding little things, a little shopping list of things to change, and some of the things that we're doing as part of our documentation journey also involve cleaning some things up. So, for example, we've done some conversions from some old school prototype classes to some what we call like ES6 classes, and that actually makes things better because we can use like real private methods, real private members, which helps with encapsulation. And that helps sort of like draw a very clear line about like what's within the scope of the module, what's the responsibility of the module, and what is sort of like external, what touches the outside world. That's the inside and outside. What is it? The open-closed principle, the Demeter's law, whatever. Principle of least knowledge, basically. Also, I realized I never checked to see whether or not the chat was working, so let me do that real quick. Bridge chest, please ignore. Let's just see if that's going to go through. 1 second. Checking. There it is. Okay, chat's working, and we're all set to go. So let's start by sharing my screen. You can see, You can see where we're at. Yeah, it's November 20th, 2024, episode 384. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I think I know what I want to do today with that documentation stuff, but it might go wrong. It might go sideways. We might get distracted, get sent down some kind of rabbit hole. Someone might kick me out of this room and tell me that I need to move and I have to end the stream early. Who knows what'll happen? We're just gonna roll with the punches, as I think they say in martial arts or something. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there is an agenda. We're looking at it right now, and depending on where you're watching this stream, the agenda, a link to it will be in a different place. So if you're watching this on YouTube, it's down in the video description. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, it'll be over there in the details section. If you're watching this on, where's the last place? Twitch, it's down in the channel details. There's also an episode guide. Hey, did you know this? I haven't plugged this in a while. There's an episode guide to The Joy of Coding, and you are, you're able to contribute to the episode guide. If you visit the episode guide, you can see episode guides going all the way back to pretty much the very beginning in 2015 when I started doing this, and we've got episodes leading right up to, episode 372. So I'm actually a little bit behind updating this. Actually, maybe that's where we'll start, because I have a feeling that there are some pull requests here for some episodes from Smurf D that I need to start folding in. So maybe we'll start there. Let's do that. I realize this is a perfect example of things not going according to plan. I've decided to pivot on us completely. We're just going to quickly look at some of these pull requests and to the episode guide and hopefully merge them in. So This first pull request adds episodes 373, 4, and 5. And so, classic. But if you've never seen me review these before, I'm pretty relaxed about it. I'm not doing like a fine-grained check. Smurfy says that there are a few behind. Don't worry about it. I'm just so grateful that you supply any of these. So thank you. One thing I like to do is I like to make sure that the dates all line up, that they're correct, because sometimes copy-paste errors occur. So this was on July 17th. Let's make sure that we've got that. Episode 373, that's correct. And what did I do that day? I fixed up some nasty... I was working on the backup stuff and Unicode characters. Oh, yeah, that was fun. It might be worth checking that episode out if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then there were some reviews that I ended up not getting to. But that all looks right. I'm happy with that. Moving right along then to episode 374, which was a week later, almost 2 weeks later. I had to skip, I guess, a week. Yeah, there's no stream next week because I went on vacation, and there was some travel I had to mention, and so some more episodes were going to be missed. But on 374, I talked about the sidebar and AutoPip. Which has been available in release now for a little while. There's actually something really nice coming. Next week, version 133, I think, releases. Is that correct? Do I have that right? 133 ships in 6 days. So next week, 133 goes out. And if you tried using the AutoPip feature, and if you're not familiar with the AutoPip feature, let me show you what it is. The AutoPip feature, here, I'll do it on my own stream. This will be hilarious. So this is a stream. I'll mute this. But this is my stream right now. It's a little bit behind. And if I create a new tab, I have the auto pip feature enabled. If I open a new tab, then pip automatically opens. You can't. My head's in the way, but pip automatically opened for that video, and it looks like 2 actually got created because 2 videos exist on that page. That's kind of a special page. Anyways. We made it a little smarter. So we made it so that AutoPip was pretty aggressive whenever we first rolled it out, or we first made it available for people to try. And we've made it so that it is a little more choosy about which videos it will attempt to AutoPip. And we think we found the right balance for that choosiness. So if you had tried AutoPip and you were like, it's really opening up things that I don't care about, like advertisements or like these little GIFs on pages. Like it was a little too excited to AutoPip. We've made some corrections. We've done some attenuation. So this is a thing that you have to opt into. You go, if it is at all interesting, if you're using 133 on beta or 134 on nightly, you already have these corrections. If you're on release, wait a week or so, and then the release will come out. You'll get the update. And then if you want to try it out, it's in Firefox Labs. It'll be under Picture-in-Picture, auto open on tab switch. So you can flip that on and try it out. It takes effect immediately. Okay, so yeah, we were working on AutoPip. I talked about that's when I did some episode guide updates apparently. So this is a blast from the past. Looks great. The dates are right. I'm happy. Let's move on. On August 7th, episode 375. The dates look right. What did I do? I talked about Puppeteer support, and we wrote some tests for backup regeneration. Right. That all looks right. I'm happy with this. Let's merge it in. Merge. Thanks. Always thank your contributors for their work. Episodes 366 and 367. Here we go. Or 376 and 377, rather. Sorry about that. September 4th, that is correct. The links and the dates look right. I started talking about using Git rather than Mercurial. We're switching over. I'm using Git via Git Cinnabar. Back when 130 was released. Oh, feels like yesterday. And we worked on some stuff. These 2 bugs, I don't remember what those are about, but that looks right. Next up was September 18th, 377. That looks right. That all looks right. And then this is when we started our journey for creating documentation for customizable UI. And that I'm all pretty happy with. And we started talking about JSDoc. So I'm going to go ahead and merge. Thanks. And last but not least, episodes 378, 379, 380. All of these are going to be customizable UI documentation. I did a what a week. I must have had a weird week or a hard week because I did the what a week meme. Is that PNG? No, I don't know where that image is. I'm pretty sure it's a PNG. But for some reason, I guess the episode got, what happened here? Share agendas for episode 378. Did it not attach correctly? 378. It just inserts it. Oh, okay, I see what happened here. What a week. Captain, it's Wednesday. And we're writing more documentation. Yeah, that sounds right. On October 16th. That was episode 379. Keep trucking. Have a hard stop. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Episode 380. 1023. Yep. More documentation. We did panel multi-view, and then I listed out the stuff we still need to do. We're actually at the point now where we're doing customize mode. We haven't done customizable widgets yet, but we have done these three. So we're going to be working on customize mode today. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead and merge those in. I wanted to draw your attention to something else, though. It's kind of neat. I'd forgotten that I hadn't talked about it. But the... Did I talk at all about profiles? Some of the profiles work has evolved a little bit, and I wanted to, like maybe you'd seen me create a profile. I've got this like other profile called Selectable Tester, which is kind of neat. And, these are conceptually similar to the profile mechanism that Firefox has had since before I even started working on it, but they're much easier for people to use. You can add icons, and one of the things I want to draw your attention to is that whenever you have a profile, you can supply an icon to represent it. In this case, I have a little briefcase for my default nightly, and we're starting to add those icons to the taskbar. So the idea being that if you've got multiple profiles open, actually still have this one. Yeah, there we go. Then you can sort of tell them apart in your taskbar because of the little icon there, which I think is kind of nice. So, pretty stoked about that. All right. Let's get back to that documentation work. Where am I? Let's take a look at where I am here. Do I have any changes locally? Do I have uncommitted changes? No. All right, check out customizable UI documentation. This is the branch we've been working on. We're going to rebase this on the central, like we do every time we start this stream. Good. And then we are going to mock. We're going to build artifact, build with artifact, mock build. Maybe we did some documentation for it, or was it that you looked at Safari a long time ago? The profile stuff? We definitely looked at Safari's profile stuff a couple of months ago because Safari 17 came out with profile support. I think it was 17. And we wanted to understand how we could import from separate Safari profiles. And we ended up doing a bit of research there to see how Safari stores profile data because they don't document it. So we had to kind of figure it out. But I think it was a couple of episodes ago where I talked about, at the very beginning, I was excited about profiles and I showed them off. If you're interested in trying them out now, caveat, this profile, selectable profile stuff, very early days still. It's still in development. Things could break. If you're using profiles like this, you may find that, the schema changes and all of a sudden all your profiles are hosed because, we hadn't prefed it on yet. So, but if you're willing to be a space monkey and to try stuff like that out, the pref is browser profiles.enabled. If you set that to true, then you can, I think it's immediate. It takes effect immediately, or maybe you need to restart the browser, but then you should get this item in here, which allows you to create user profiles. Smurfy asks, not related to Pip, but are you aware of a bug or feature for iOS that when you play a video, switch off the tab, it keeps playing, then switch back and close the tab, it keeps playing? I don't have an iOS device. I am not aware of such a bug, but if you're able to reproduce that reliably, that's worth filing, I think. That to me is like the decoder is still running. Maybe even the whole like content is somehow still running. Maybe there's like will it just sit there and keep playing until it's done, or is there just like a little bit of a delay? Because maybe there's like some slow cleanup that's occurring. I don't know. But how would you file that? I suspect that there is a section under, what is that, iOS? Firefox for iOS. Maybe just under general. What's browser? The UI for browsing the web. Maybe I'd start with Firefox for iOS general, and see if you can. Whoop! I think my display just flaked out. Hold on, just a quick sec. What's going on here? Can you still see me? You can still see me. Okay. My display is really freaking out. I don't know exactly why, but this might be a rough one. Because I don't see it in the monitor here. Like, I don't think you can see it, but I'm getting a lot of like ghosted fragments of stuff. I'm seeing like fragments of the GitHub page, and I think it's like my monitor is futzing out. I might turn off the monitor and turn it back on. Just bear with me. This may cause some issues. Stand by. I'm just gonna just one moment. Okay, not better. So powering off the monitor did not help, but there's something super up with this screen. But we're just gonna hang in there and do our best. You know, this is the joy of coding. Okay, so we've got our documentation being built out under browser components, customizable UI, docs, and then the other argument we were supplying because of reasons was disable fatal warnings. I think I just need to double check that that's the right syntax, and when I run help, it's going to install a bunch of stuff, so hold on. Wow, okay. Okay, disable warnings check. Oh, the background is not moving. Oh man, something is up. Okay, 1 second. The background is not moving. What is going on here? Window capture. Nope. You see this? You see that? Okay. Better now. You can see. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. And I apologize. Okay, so we've got our documentation here. And we did a bunch of documentation last week on area position. We're starting now on customize mode. And we're starting to flesh this out. So let's take a look at customize mode. Oh, wrong. Customize mode.sys.mjs. And we were pretty early on what we were doing here. Like, if I remember correctly, what we were doing was we were changing a bunch of members from being sort of like underscore pseudo private to being actually private, because we were turning this into a proper ES6 class. So one thing we had learned is that customize mode.browser was being used externally, I think. Let's double check that. Customize mode.browser. No. Maybe we can make... we can probably make this private as well, this .browser. So let's do that. And what was it? Customize mode areas. That one was used by a test. So we wanted to like to do make this private and expose a new a read-only list of areas instead. This is used by this is used by such and such. Okay, so we're gonna make browser private, and then we're going to change all the usages to this dot browser. Not too many. Browser must be declared in an enclosing class. Didn't I? Oh, you know what? I didn't declare it. Browser equals null. And I already had a comment about this dot area. Okay. Oh, I see. We were working our way down through this list. Okay. And we'd already done stowed palette, drag over item, enabled commands, handler on init. Okay. What I think I'd like to do now, before we leave this area, is we can start documenting some of these members. So let's do that. So this is type boolean true if customize mode is in the process of being transitioned into or out of. I believe that's the case. Yeah, because it's an async operation. Okay. This, a reference to the top level browser window that this instance of customize mode is configured to use. Type DOM window. Document. A reference to the top level browser window document that this instance of customize mode is configured to use. Type document. Browser. Now, remind me, what is this again? Browser. So this is obviously a browser. Type Zool browser. But what is the... What is it? What is it? What is it? Oh, it's G browser. Oh. This isn't a Zool browser. This is a tab browser. Which is also a ES6 class now. Class lowercase b. Tab browser. The G browser. The tab browser instance, a reference to the tab browser instance that belongs to the browser, top level browser window that customize mode is configured to use. All right. This is used to cache the customizable areas while in customize mode. I don't know why, but all right. And so it's sometimes null, it looks like, but sometimes areas, push areas. So sometimes it's get areas. It's a copy of an so it's an array of strings. an array of customizable UI areas that this instance of customize mode can be used to manipulate. So area IDs. So it is either null or a string array. It starts as null. And why do we cache this stuff? Keep the method fast. It's used during drags to avoid multiple DOM loops. So we create a copy of the keys, and then we go through the areas. We get the DOM element. We get the customization target. And then we're adding the customization target ID to areas. And if there's an overflow target, we'll also add that to areas. And then while node and node parent equals node, if areas includes parent ID, return node. Oh. We're checking whatever it is that we're dragging against the list of areas. We're trying to find which area it belongs to. This is a pretty weird routine. But okay. It seems weird to create this every time you start dragging to do this operation. But okay, not here to judge, not here to judge. What else do we use areas for? Wrap toolbar item, target, and get customizable target for the area. It's just an array. Get customizable target for area. What is that? That's an element. So we've got this mixed. So areas is more than just areas. Oh, this is wild. This dot areas equals a set, and then add. Oh, you know what? I think I got confused. Because this term is overloaded. There's this dot areas, and then there's areas. Not the same thing. Not referring to the same thing here. Okay, so this is not actually null or string array. This is an element array, or rather DOM node array. An array of customizable target DOM nodes that this instance of customize mode can be used to manipulate. Customizable UI, customizable target, customizable, man, this dot areas. Get customized target for area, yeah. Customize target DOM nodes that this instance of customize mode can be used to manipulate. And to what end was this used for? We check to see whether or not a particular target get customized target for area. If the areas, if we already have the then we do the wrapping and we add the target. Customized target. Then we add the drag handlers for wrap each of the children. Wrap toolbar item sync. Unwrap toolbar items. area node registered. Wrap the items, add the containers on area node unregistered. That's in the event that we're in customize mode and someone see, like, this is the sort of thing that we wouldn't support anymore, is registering new areas while you're in customize mode. Okay. An array of customized target DOM nodes at this instant of customized mode can be used to manipulate. It is assumed that when targets are in this set, it's a set, not an array. When targets are in this set, that they have drag, drop listeners attached, and that their children have been wrapped as, what are they called? Toolbar item wrapper, toolbar item wrapper, wrapped, toolbar item, create or update wrapper, toolbar palette item, that's what it is. Wrapped as a toolbar palette item, that they're customizable children have been wrapped as a toolbar palette items. Okay. Good. Stowed palette. What is this? When in customizing mode, we swap out the reference to the invisible palette in GNav toolbox palette for our visible palette. This way, for the customizing browser window, when widgets are removed and added to the palette, they're added to the visible palette. Stowed palette is a reference to the old invisible palette, so we can restore a palette to its original state after. Oh, right. Okay. So back in the day, with Zool add-ons, if you wanted to have a toolbar item exist in the palette, you would overlay it into this invisible palette that we didn't actually want to be part of the... We didn't want to calculate layout for it. It was like fully invisible. It was just part of the DOM tree, but it wasn't part of what was styled or laid out or drawn. And then when you're in customize mode, we create a visible palette, which is a little more sophisticated than the invisible one, which is just a container, a DOM, just a box that you overlay your items into. And so when we entered customize mode, we would like move the items from the customize mode palette, the invisible palette, into this visible one, and we would do all the manipulation that we needed to. Whenever you exit customize mode, we would tear down the visible palette and put everything back into the invisible palette. And that's what stowed palette is holding on to the invisible palette. So, okay, this is type DOM, null or DOM node. And we're going to move this documentation in here. Okay. We swap out the reference to the invisible palette for our visible palette. That way, for the customizing browser window, when widgets are removed from customizable areas and added to the palette, they're added to the visible palette. Stowed palette is a reference to the old invisible palette, so we can restore GNav toolbox palette to its original state after exiting customization mode. Okay. What is drag over item? Presumably, that is the item that we are currently dragging over. Yeah, that's the item that we're currently dragging over if we have a drag underway. And when we drag leave, or if drag ends, we clear it out. Okay. The current item, the current customizable item Is it the current customizable item, or is it really just any item? It could be any item. It's whatever's the next sibling. Can use prev sibling, and it doesn't matter what the next sibling is. We'll just go ahead and say it. Okay. The current item, if a drag operation is underway, drag and drop operation is underway for a customizable toolbar item, the current item that is being dragged over is this member is set to the current item being dragged over. Type null DOM node. Customizing false. When is this used? If customizing is entering customize mode, exit. If not customizing, false. Okay. So this is just a state variable. True if we're in the state of customizing this browser window. Type Boolean. Skip source node check. What is that? So that is a pref. Skip source node check. The synthesized events for tests generated by plain drag and drop and synthesized drop mode tests are used only for testing whether the right data is being put in the data transfer. Neither cause a real drop to occur, so they don't set the source node. There isn't a means of testing real drag and drop, so this pref skips the check, but it should only be set by test code. Skip source node check. Otherwise, I see. Discard drag events that originate from a separate window to prevent content chrome privilege escalations. Okay. This may be from back in the day. I don't know. This shouldn't be possible anymore with our current architecture. Source node is null in the drag start event handler if the drag event originated in an external application. I see. I see. Okay. So this should be false, not null. True if we're in the we're using customize mode. We're manipulating customize mode. Synthesizing drag and drop for automated tests. Customize mode for automated tests, and want to skip the source app, skip the checks that ensure that the source of the drag events was this browser window. Top level browser window. Type Boolean. Okay. And then it's mapped to this pref. This is controllable via. These are the commands we continue to leave enabled while in customize mode. Okay, so this is a set of strings. Type set string. Is that how you do it? Oh, yeah. And can I do? There we go. These are the commands we continue to leave enabled while in customize mode. All other commands are disabled. And we remove the disabled attribute when leaving customize mode. Perfect. So far, so good. Hey, we're making good headway here. This is good documentation, gang. SmurfD filed their bug. YouTube's audio keeps playing after its tab is closed. I'm going to subscribe to this and see what happens. The iOS team will get back to you shortly. Customization handler. What is customization handler? I never heard of that. Oh, yes. This is like the thing that's external to customize mode that belongs to an individual window that just sort of like prepares the window for entering and exiting customize mode. Okay. So this is a getter that returns an object. Returns this the customization handler browser window global object. Returns, yeah. C browser-customization.js. Okay. Uninit. Detaches. Oh, this seems like it's not doing nearly enough. I don't even think we ever uninit, to be completely honest. Like, what uninits? This dot uninit on window unload. Okay. Does cleanup of any observer, cleanup of any listeners or observers when the browser window closes. The browser window that this customized mode instance is configured to use closes, unloads, and it doesn't return anything. ID. Oh boy. Okay, so this takes a string. The DOM ID to look to return a result for. This is a shortcut to. This is a shortcut for this document.get element by ID. Returns either a DOM node or null. Okay, let's build the documentation again. Take a look at what we've got. Okay, a lot more stuff in here. Looking good. Okay. Let's keep going. Set tab. So presumably this needs to be public. Let's just double check that. Yeah, it's used by Session Store at least. I guess that's in the event that you were in customized mode. Oh, I remember what this is for. I know what this is for. Okay, so if you check this out, check this out, gang. Let's launch the browser. So customize mode. If you look at the tabs right now, I've got like all these like app tabs and stuff. Why are these play buttons so big? Is that a recent regression? Huh. All right. If you check out customize mode, it looks like it's another tab, but this is definitely not a normal tab. Like, it is not. It does not behave like one, but it looks like one. And when you close the tab, it goes away, and we're back in normal browsing mode. But it's not a tab, okay? But in order to make it seem like one, we have to add some glue to sort of create this illusion that it's a tab. And I think what happens is, yeah, this is that glue. And it allows it so that in the event that you shut down while you have customize mode opened, whenever you restore your session, if you happened to be in customize mode, it will re-enter customize mode for you. That's what this part does. A tab, G tab, set attribute, customize mode, owner global, set tab title for a tab, tab close. G tab's progress selected. Okay, so this is a Zool tab. Zool tab sets the fake tab element that will be associated. Tab element from this that will be associated with being in customize mode. Customize mode looks like customize mode looks similar to a special kind of tab, and when that tab is closed, we exit customize mode. When that tab is switched to, we enter customize mode. If that tab is restored in the foreground, we enter customize mode. Okay, tab returns nothing. This method assigns the special Zool tab that will represent customize mode for this window and sets up the relevant listeners to it. Okay. The tab will have customize mode, a customize mode attribute set to true on it, as well as a special favicon item, a favicon. Okay. Enter a tab. The tab to act as the tab representation of customize mode. I don't know how clear that is. Syntax error. It does not like Zool tab. How about that? Do you like that? When I used maybe I don't think it likes that. All right. So then maybe I'll just call it a tab. What do we call tab? Browser tab.js. Tab browser / tab. Let's look at the source here. Components. Tab unloader. Tab browser. Tab.js is a Moz browser tab. Moz tab browser tab. Okay. All right, let's move on. So this is pretty interesting. This entering is doing a lot, and I think I helped write some of this back when I was younger, more fancy free. So what's interesting is that this method does some asynchronous stuff, but these promises are just kind of like thrown away. Okay. This kicks off returns nothing. So this kicks off the process of entering customize mode for the window that this customize mode instance was constructed with. Entering customize mode is a multi-step asynchronous operation. But this method returns immediately while this operation is underway. Is there some kind of signal when entering? Yeah, customization ready. A customization ready custom event is dispatched on the toolbox on the gnav toolbox when this process has completed. All right. How we doing out there? All right, quick shout out to all the people watching. Shout out to my mom, who might be watching. I don't know. Shout out to my aunt and uncle, who might be watching. Sometimes they watch this stuff. Quick shout out if your name is Emilio. If you're out there and your name is Emilio, shout out. I don't think we're doing enough shout outs. And shout out to Bearded Mike, says Smurf D. Quick shout out to all the bearded mics out there, myself included. And a shout out to Smurf D, who's hanging out in the chat, and I really appreciate you. It's good shout outs, everyone. Good shout outs. All right, let's keep moving. Right. I don't think there's much else in here. To do. A before customization event fires. Notify start. We set up do a bunch of operations here. Begin our transition, we wrap everything, and then we fire another event, and then set up an observer or a listener for visibility change. We update a bunch of things, and then the palette, now that transition is finished. Force layer reflow to show, ensure the animation runs and make it async so it doesn't affect the time. There is no animation anymore. That's the thing. Like there used to be a kind of a slick animation, but we had a hard time making that animation work smoothly. We were so naive back then and didn't understand on the front end team about things like layout flushes. We didn't have the right tooling to profile it. We didn't have the right understanding. These days, I think we're a lot better at understanding like style and layout flushes, what's expensive, how to animate things smoothly. But back then, it was a lot harder, and the animation would be really janky at times, which is too bad. So I think we ended up cutting the animation, which is too bad because it was a pretty killer animation. But maybe now we could revisit it at some point. All right. Let us move on. I don't think there's much else to say in here, even though there's a lot going on. I think we've said what we wanted to say. I should also mention this method is if no tool pop-ups. Will return early if customize mode already is already active in this window. Okay. The window that's customized mode instance was constructed with. If this window happens to be a pop-up window, the source window will enter customize mode. The opener window will enter customize mode. Active in the, yeah. Okay. Exits customize mode if we happen to be in it. This is a no op if we are not in customize mode. This is a multi-step asynchronous operation, but this method returns early, or returns synchronously after the operation begins. I think another event is fired whenever we're done exiting. After customization, notify end customization. What is that? Notify end customizing. On customize end, okay. And after customization, custom event is dispatched on the gnav toolbox once the operation has completed. Does not return a thing. Okay. The overflow panel in customize mode should have its arrow pointing at the overflow button. In order to do this correctly, we pass the distance between the inside of the window and the middle of the button to the customize mode markup in which the arrow and the panel are placed. Oof, okay. We get the size and position of things, we lay it out. Okay, so this returns a promise. And that promise either returns with, it doesn't return with anything. I know it looks like we return something here, but that's for this promise. The offset, the offset is what this is returning. And then the property is set on the customization panel wrapper. The returned promise resolves once the offset has been set on the panel wrapper. All right, and this is a private method. Great. Where are we? We are on line 687 of nearly 3,000, just over 3,000 lines. So we're like almost a third of the way through, actually. I know I sounded a little bit like, oh boy, I think let's get to, see if we can get to 1,000. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 today. I don't think that's too bad, but let's double check. That's gonna take us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If we can document 10 more methods within the next half an hour, we'll have 1,000 lines of this thing of the methods documented, and that's pretty good. So let's see if we can do that. Get customizable child for node. Okay, so given some node, given some DOM node, attempts to find the child, find the relevant child node that can have customizable items placed within it. This may be the DOM node. If the DOM node happens to be happens to be able to have such items placed directly within it, this will just return that node. No. Attempts to resolve to the relevant child node that can have customizable placed within it, or to the A node itself if it can have items placed directly within it. What's the other rule here? If customization target, we get the target for an area node. If the target doesn't happen to be the area node, then we will push the target onto the end of the list. So we're manipulating the list that we're looping through. Okay, cool. And then in the event that the area node has a default overflow target, then we'll push the overflow target into areas. This seems really bad. Overflow target. No, okay, sorry. I thought this was the node itself. Okay, so the overflow target will be an ID. So this is all IDs. For a second there, I thought this was a node. So we had this mixture, an array of a mixture of items and like strings and nodes, and I'm like, that's a bad idea. But okay, this it's just IDs, and then we'll loop through it. Child or overflow target node that can have customizable items placed within it, or to the node itself if it can have directly within it. I'm going to have this be a new sentence. It may resolve to a node itself if a node can have customizable items placed directly within it. Returns if the node does not appear to have such a relevant child, have such a child, this method will return null. Returns DOM node or null. No Good Nick writes, "Good day. Good day, No Good Nick. Good day." Okay, so we're in an area now where we haven't, I think we didn't touch any of this stuff because I can see we're using still the underscore pseudo private business. This looks to be an only internal method, so we're going to go ahead and make this a proper private method, and we're going to change the usage. Okay, promise widget animation out. So what does this do? I don't think I've seen what does the hash at the start of the method name mean? Great question. So if you're writing modern JavaScript, if it's been a while since you've written JavaScript, we have classes now. JavaScript had this notion of classes, has had a notion of object orientation in classes, but it had this special flavor of it called like prototype inheritance, which I don't think it invented it. I think that's like something that the idea was borrowed from other languages. But it's if you're used to like classes from other languages like Java or C++, the way that you did object orientation and inheritance in sort of classic JavaScript was very strange. So ES6 included classes, proper classes, and one of the things it also offers us is private methods and private members. And the hash in front of a method name or in front of a member is how you indicate that it is private. And that's enforced at runtime so that external callers cannot access. No Good Nick writes, I'm familiar with both classes and prototypes, so that's how we spell the private keyword here. Got it. Yep, that's exactly right. That's how we say it's private, is with the hash. Sorry if I was being a little too verbose there, No Good Nick. I didn't know what you're interested in. I don't know what your background is, but hopefully that was useful. All right, promise widget animation out. What does this thing do? Let's find out. So first of all, we check to see if we are configured to not animate much. And if so, we're going to return null. So we know that this thing will at least return null. We're passing in a node. If the node happens to be anchor for the node happens to be the navbar overflow button, or the node happens to be a toolbar item, and the tag name is not toolbar item or toolbar button, or the node is the downloads button and it's the hidden downloads button, then forget it, we're done. Otherwise, we'll get the parent node, and if it starts with wrapper, if the ID starts with wrapper, which is the convention for when we wrap these things, whenever we're in customize mode, then the thing animating is the parent node. Otherwise, we'll say that the thing animating is the node itself. And then, oh boy, what are we doing? We return a promise. So we're returning null or a promise that will resolve we wait until the next frame before setting the class to ensure we do start the animation. So we request an animation frame, then we request another animation frame. So we skipped a single frame. We add animate out to the node. We wait for the customization exit event. And we also listen for the animation end event. If customization event exit event occurs, then we go ahead and resolve the promise right away. We clean everything up and we resolve and return their animation node. Otherwise, oh boy, what is happening? On animation end, if the animation is widget animate out and target ID equals the animation node that we identified, then we will resolve the animation promise, which also cleans everything up, and we resolve with the animation node. So this is going to resolve with a DOM node or null. But to what end? What is this? Animate out. What is this? Widget animate out. When would we fire this? Promise widget animation out. When we add to toolbar a particular node, and what we'll do is we will find the node and we'll run widget animation out. Widget animate out, which is we're going to change the opacity from 1 to 0. Widget animate out. So we transition from something that's invisible to visible, and then we bring its scale to half. Item added to the overflow menu should scale down and fade out. This is from 2017. Oh, good. Let's look. Oh, whenever things are going away, we like scale it away. I see. All right, hold on. Back up. So we're making it invisible. We scale it away. We're animating it away. And then, okay. I understand. When we add to the panel. Okay, let's see if we still do this stuff. So if I like move this to the over, yeah, it goes away. I understand. Okay. Unpin, brings it back. Anytime an item, what are the other cases that will promise widget animation out? When we add to the toolbar, is that because if we've got like the panel open, let's pin to overflow menu. Unpin. Widget animation promise. Let's do that again, but let's do some debugging here. I really want to understand this. Customize mode. Promise animation. What's the promise widget animation out? Promise widget animation out. Okay, so we're gonna pin. So that one makes sense. The node happens to be okay. So we're in here. The other, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log a node. We're going to say promise widget animation out, and we're going to log the node. So let's do that again. Let's pin this one, and we should see in our log here. It was optimized out. Okay, I'm gonna restart the browser. I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna build. Because one thing I've noticed is that the source has changed, but that the execution... are you officially on Firefox? Yes, I am employed by Mozilla to work on Firefox. That is correct. That is correct. Okay, let's do this again. And we'll open up customize mode, which I think we have to wait until it's loaded, customize mode, and then we're gonna, let's add our log here. Promise widget animation out. Okay. Let's go ahead and pin this one. And did it get logged? No. It didn't. So we must not be entering that condition. Maybe I'll add a condition here. Promise widget animation out. And I'll also add a. That's a no. We're gonna remove that. Sorry, I wanted a log point, and then here as well. Animation out, bailing early. Okay. And then we'll view our logging here. Let's rejig our windows to make this a little easier to read. And let's go ahead and move some stuff. So pin, still nothing. Why aren't we logging? Why aren't we logging? Promise widget animation out. Can I just set a normal breakpoint here? What? Okay. So why aren't we calling these? Add to toolbar, add to panel. Am I in here at all? Pin. Something is up. Something is up. I am skeptical that things are working properly right now. Let's do a quick build. I am skeptical that the debugger was working properly. Let's try it again, this time with feeling. And one thing I'll do this time is I will also add a breakpoint at exit. I don't think we're gonna meet our goal. Okay, so our debugger is working. That's good. Let's go ahead and unpin. Okay, here we go. And we said bailing early. Bailing early because it wasn't wrapped. Because the tag name, or why would we bail? Get attribute if the anchor is navbar overflow button. Yeah, that would have been it. If the CY anchor ID is navbar overflow button, that's why. So we're not doing it because of this second condition. Okay, I think we can get rid of those, and then I'm fairly certain pin to overflow menu, add to panel. Okay, and then we do animate it. Okay, so there's some, I think, a little bit of add to toolbar. When would we call add to toolbar from G customize mode? On the context menu, add to toolbar. Would we do it if we had an item in the bookmarks bar? No, can't right click. That's interesting. How about up here? If I remove, okay, so when we remove from that toolbar, customize mode. And then if I like pick, why can't I context menu click now? Customize, put you over here. These are kind of funny, eh? I don't think I can context click the. Let's try this button. Why can't I context click these? That seems like a bug. Maybe it is. Yeah, okay. I must have triggered some kind of bug there. That's worth filing if I can figure out some steps. I might watch this recording afterwards to get some steps to reproduce. But if I say like pin to overflow menu, then these will animate. It's really whenever items are from the context menu, like if I grab It's only whenever items are removed that this animation event occurs. Okay. So I think that's given me the information I need. Kicks off an animation for a node that causes it to shrink, to scale down, and become transparent before being removed from a toolbar. 133 since you started streaming. Thank you, SmurfD. Oh, you're thinking ahead. This can be seen when using the context menu panel to remove context menu to remove an item from a toolbar. A node, DOM node, the node to be removed from the toolbar. Returns null if no animation is going to occur. For example, if the node being removed. Okay. For nodes that are within the overflow panel aren't toolbar item, toolbar button, or is the hidden downloads button, this returns null immediately and no animation is performed. If this, reduced motion is enabled, this returns early and no animation is performed. This returns early and no animation is performed. Null early and no null immediately. Animation is performed. Returns null if no animation is going to occur, or the DOM node that the animation is going to be performed on. That the animation was performed on. Or after the animation has finished, has completed. Okay. I think we can do one more. Yeah, not my favorite. Not my favorite, all this stuff. Okay, add to toolbar. And I believe this is a public method that we have to keep public. We saw it was being used. Moves an item from moves a customizable item to the nav bar, right? The nav bar. This is used primarily by the context menus when outside the toolbar item context menus, regardless of whether or not we're in customize mode. Moves a customizable item to the end of the nav bar. Now, what happens if the item's already in the nav bar? G customize mode. Let's let's shut down some of these windows. Cancel, let's close this window. Okay. Let's say I have this item. Let's say I have an item that's already in the nav bar. This item. I'll say G, customize mode, add to toolbar. What happens? Does it move to the end? Ah, oh. Okay, let's see what happens. So I've selected this, the accounts button. I'm gonna say G, customize mode, add to toolbar. What happens? Moves it to the end, even if it's in the same toolbar. Right. DOM node. And it returns a promise once this kicks off an animation that shows if this item is within a toolbar, this kicks off an animation, like regardless of, like if it's from here. Yeah, regardless of if this item is within a toolbar, this kicks off an animation that shrinks the item and causes it to become, shrinks the item icon and causes it to become transparent before the move occurs. The return promise resolves once the move has completed. Once the animation and the move has completed. If the item is within a toolbar, this may kick off an animation that shrinks the item. Okay. Returns, takes the DOM node, the node to be added to the end, to be moved to the end of the navbar area. Returns a promise that resolves with what? Nothing. Undefined. Resolves once the move has completed. Okay. I think we're going to stop there, but we're making good progress. We didn't get to the 1,000 lines that I wanted to by now. We got a little, I think, distracted, or I did at least, by this fun stuff. I was learning how it works. Yeah, I kind of wonder whether or not this belongs here in customize mode, because it almost feels like something that should belong to browser customization, because this is kind of external to the mode. It is used both by the mode, like if I'm in customize mode, I can use it in here. But it also is the case that I can use it outside of customize mode. Okay. So that's worth taking a note of. In fact, let me go to today's notes. Things to file. Do we still need the transitioning? The transitioning member of customize mode if we're not doing an animation, and should add to panel, add to toolbar, and the what was it, promise widget animation out stuff live inside of customization handler. Instead. Okay, so that's stuff I will file when this is all done. we're making good progress. And then there was like the bug where we couldn't get the context menu to appear 133 around 133 of the stream. Okay, and we're gonna stop there. Hey, thank you so much for watching episode 384 of The Joy of Coding. I hope that was interesting. I hope that I know we're just writing documentation here. We're not fixing bugs, but we're doing stuff and we're learning. And I hope that was interesting. And I think we're making things better, by converting this to an ES6 class, and particularly by doing this deep dive and trying to document things. I think we're making it a little bit easier for future hackers to sort of understand what's going on here. And that's important, because I think there's a lot of simplification work that can occur in here. There's a lot of tech debt that can be paid down. And I've said this for a couple episodes now. The first step, whenever you got something mature and battle tested but complicated that you want to kind of simplify, boil down, refactor, the first step, document it, document the existing state of it, and make sure that you've got decent test coverage of its behaviors before you do any of that conversion, before you do any of that tech debt burn down, or trying to get rid of dead code or something, because you need to make sure that if you change behavior, it's by design. You want to reduce the probability that you're going to introduce bugs by trying to make the code better. So that's my tip of the day. But yeah, documentation's good, and we've been making some decent changes. And I'm going to stop there. All right. Well, let me know what you thought of this episode. There is a link in the agenda here to rate this episode. I'm going to drop a link in the chat, a link to rate this episode, and let me know what you thought. Fill in the form, but this is also a place where you can ask me questions. If you've got questions that you want me to try and answer on the stream, go ahead and send them in with that form. And I read everything that comes in. I'll use it to make the stream better. Do more of what you want to see, do less of what you don't want to see, and I'll try and answer your questions if I have the answers. So go ahead, fill out that form. Let me know what you think. And with that, we'll call it there. Thanks, everybody. Have yourselves a great week, and hopefully I will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. The joy of coding. See ya.